People work,
I always
Michael.
forget President's Day is a union holiday.
Yeah, I did too. I had to I was double checking.
It's always such a
nobody on our team believed me. Like, cause I make the calendar, and I was like, yeah, guys, we have off this day. I checked the website, and they were like, no, we don't. And I was like, yes, we do.
So yeah, first rule about being a PA is that no one believes you when you tell them that you have off. On this episode of The Pod, we sit down with Francesco Russo, post PA on the upcoming live-action television series Avatar: The Last Airbender. And before you ask, yes, we keep it completely spoiler-free. A fellow Temple University alum, Francesco walks us through his path into post-production, how he landed his first major Hollywood gig, and what it's really like supporting 5 editors at once while somehow orchestrating the logistical circus of 30-plus lunch orders. We get into practical advice for current and aspiring post-PAs, the importance of shadowing, using downtime strategically, and the skills the job quietly builds that shape the rest of your career in post. Welcome to this episode of Sips and Clips. My name is Leanne McFalls.
My name is Michael Schusterman.
And today we've got a very special guy. I need to change up the phrasing. I feel like because every day it's...
Also, do you have a new sticker on your laptop that says mess with the honk, you get the bonk?
Yes.
It's the most distracting sticker I've ever seen in my fucking life.
That was the first thing I saw.
So
that's crazy. I'm looking at this because I've looked at this laptop screen for 2 years now, and you've got the buffest duck. It's a 6-pack duck. It's just so distracting.
I'm gonna give you a side story real quick to talk about this sticker. There's kind of this joke with my coworkers that they think that I'm very aggressive.
That you're aggressive?
I have never in my lifetime ever heard that I was aggressive. And so it was one day, literally they said my name. I thought I heard my name. So I poked my head in the room. I was like, oh, did you say my name? And they were like, you squared up. You're ready to fight someone. I was like, I just thought you said my name. So there was this whole thing about I'm an aggressive person and I'm always look like I'm ready to fight someone. I joke that I could beat my PA up, all this kind of stuff. So I went home over Christmas and my friend had her son's first birthday was in January and they had these stickers. At the end, stickers and little things because the theme was duck, silly goose. That was the theme of the birthday party. So I got this one specifically because people think that I'm aggressive. And then the funny part is that I went home and I was telling my family, I was like, yeah, people think I'm really aggressive. My aunt goes, who said that? I'm going to fight them. And I was like, yeah, this is
where you get it from.
Exactly. And once we told them that I was from Philly, everybody at work was like, oh, that makes sense.
It's just your culture.
So I guess it's my culture. But compared to Philly, nobody thinks I'm aggressive. They're like, you're the chillest person. Anyway.
No, it's funny. Gabby is from New York, so it's kind of a similar thing. It's not aggression, but it's just the way of communicating that is a little different.
I guess so. Yeah.
She's like, what the fuck? And you're just like, oh, it's chill. She's like, I'm not upset.
I'm not upset. I'm just angry right now. I'm frustrated with people that don't understand.
I like
efficiency.
This sticker.
Efficiency, people.
Post a photo of this sticker on the Instagram. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, we can post it. But like I said, I need to come. What other special guest? We have a very special guest.
We can go and in this corner.
We have welcome to the podcast, Francesco Russo. Did I say your name right?
Yeah, you did.
Francesco Russo. I have a nickname.
The lesser-known Russo brother.
Yes, yeah, the lesser. I have a nickname for Francesco, which I'm not going to say on the air because I don't want anybody else to ever say it or use it. But it is hard for my brain to wire it to his real name.
Franny.
So
they call me that at work. Yeah, Fran.
They call
me Fran a lot. Franny.
Fran. Do you like it or no?
Yeah, it's great. A lot of people call me Frank, but it was confusing because my dad's name was Frank. So then they would also call me Frankie, and that was kind of cute. But then I became an adult, and Frankie wasn't really the vibe.
Francesco is here because he's going to talk to us about being a post-PA. We realize we have not had a post-PA since our second episode, Grant Ward. So let's bring in another one and hear all of his experience and hear all the differences that he does from Grant. And
Grant became a post-PA, I think, largely in part because of his ACE intern experience, which is going to be demonstrably different from most people who become a
This
post
is
PA.
true.
So it's I think it behooves us to have more diverse experiences of that job on our show.
Of course. But before I forget, we have to start with what we're sipping on.
Oh my God, how could we forget?
Always, even though that is the title of this podcast.
Of the show.
Francesco, I'm going to let you start because you're our guest. What are you sipping on today?
I have 2 drinks. I don't know if that was allowed, but I have water.
Always allowed.
I'm a big
Classic.
water advocate. Hydrate or dihydrate. And then I have a Fairlife. It's the chocolate flavor. Trying to get my protein in the morning.
Is that all that you have in the morning?
Typically, I sometimes do the Chobani protein drink, but yeah, I'm more like a liquid morning yogurt, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Protein drink person. I also love your water mug because it looks like it's very typical paper cup
Yeah.
that you used to see in like the 90s or whatever.
Yeah. It's a Walla, actually. It's retro. My girlfriend got it for me.
It's a what?
A Walla?
Yeah.
Oh, a Walla.
Yeah.
Michael, what are you sipping on?
Leanne, thank you for asking. I am sipping on a cinnamon dolce latte
Wow.
with almond milk.
Almond milk. Amazing.
Really exciting. It is basically, I have an almond latte. I have an espresso machine at home now, so it's really bad now. I think literally every single morning, my morning starts with an almond latte.
I mean, that's fine as long as you're not spending all that money at Starbucks,
It saves
right?
so much money doing it at
Yeah.
home. It's staggering how much money you save.
I am sipping on just coffee from my house. I've got my sugar. I have just vanilla creamer, but it's in the Sips and Clips mug that I have to remind her of our little podcast and how big we've gotten. In the past,
How large we've grown.
2.5 years now? Jeez.
Is it 2.5 years?
Is that real?
No.
1.5, I think.
Yeah.
Because it was like mid 2024.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Why don't we get into it? Francesco, why don't you tell us your story? How did you get into filmmaking? How did you always want to be editing? And then how did you get out here?
Well, I started in like high school, which I think is earlier than most people. We had like a good communication technology program.
And where did you grow up?
I was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Amish country.
Lancaster.
And we had a good communication technology program, which was like more like journalism based and like news features and that kind of stuff. And for some reason, it was like hard to like get into the classes in high school. So my best friend actually like dropped the class, and then I like ran to the teacher and I was like, please put me in. And he put me in, and then that's where I learned like what editing was like as a whole. Like he kind of opened up like what a cut was, and I kind of was like, wow. I went home and watched TV and I was like, wow, they just keep cutting. Like every single time like something changes, it's a cut. And so then all of the rest of high school, I was just like editing in Premiere, and we did a lot of like I said, journalism. So it was like news features, and we went to Student Television Network, which is like a film festival-esque kind of thing, competition. So then in college, I was like, well, I'm definitely going to study like film. Like I want to be in film. So then my college experience was COVID, which was not great. But the beginning of it, I don't know.
Your freshman year was 2020?
My freshman year was 2020. I graduated in 2020 from high school.
And where'd you go to college?
I went to college at Temple University.
Yeah, TU.
You know what's so funny? You have a like connection from your past to Francesco being the same university. Francesco also happened to you went to high school with or knew
Yeah, with high school.
with one of my good friends from college.
And he was in this communications technology program.
Wow. Did you look at any other schools besides Temple?
Well, I did apply to Chapman, and they didn't want me. So, and then I also applied to Penn State, but I felt like the rest of my high school was going to Penn State.
Ugh, Penn State.
Yeah, there we go. That's kind of how I felt. But I wanted to go to like a city school. I wanted to go to Hofstra, which was like my dream school.
Oh,
but
I did try to go to Hofstra. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was way too expensive.
But you went to Temple,
Yeah, I
and
went
that
to
seemed
Temple.
to have paid off.
Yeah, so those first few years, it was kind of like, I guess major-wise and school-wise, it was hard to be like collaborating in film just because of COVID. So I wasn't feeling like I was gaining a lot, but I was glad I had like my high school like skills because I was able to like do things on my own and feel like I was just making stuff. And then junior and senior year was when it felt like it really like kicked off, and I was like meeting people, working with people. And then senior year, I ended up doing a study away is what they called it, to LA, which I did
The
learn.
same program that I did.
Yeah, and I learned more in that semester, which was like half of a year, right?
Did I meet you then, or did I meet you after you graduated?
Maybe both, because I went to Cuts and Cups when I
During
was
that?
Yeah,
okay.
Because
That's what I thought. I thought I met you when you were still in college.
Yeah, probably. Because Leanne was a big like advocate. She came as a guest speaker to the LA Study Away and was like Cuts and Cups and plugged it. So
Yeah, I'm just going to take credit for him being out here and all that kind of stuff. Him getting a job. That's all me. That's all me, guys. That's all me.
Sometimes you gotta. Sometimes you gotta be like, I built you.
I built you. I got you out here. So you did the program. I got you out here.
You're right. Yeah.
And then what? What happened after that?
When I like graduated, moved out here like less than a month after graduation, which felt like traumatizing. But I moved out here, and
Why was it traumatizing?
I just think it's hard to like leave home and move across the country, and
true.
especially as soon as I did it. But I think like I don't know. I feel like a lot of people like make it seem like like I moved. Like moving's a big deal.
It is.
Yeah,
Totally.
it is.
And so then after I moved, the first like 3 to 4 months I was working at Chipotle. I just transferred from my Temple University Chipotle to the
Love it.
I was living around USC, so the USC Chipotle. And then that's when I really started like being like, okay, I can't work at Chipotle anymore. I gotta like figure this out and like keep, because I was going to Cuts and Cups and all that stuff, but I knew I needed to do more. So I quit Chipotle, which was like a big risk. I was like, dang, yeah.
Wow.
So I
Without a
quit.
job?
Yeah, without a job. Yeah. So August that year of 2024, I was unemployed, and I was like I'm just going ham. Like I'm gonna meet every single person. I'm gonna go to every single networking thing, and like I'm gonna figure it out. But like now I have all this time, and this is great, and like I'm not unhappy. Like I can just focus. I think that's when you and I actually met, Michael, and we like got coffee then, and we got coffee, and you were like, you got to meet the players in the game. That was the one thing you said. that was the phrase. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Wait, where did we meet? Remind me, where did we meet? We meet at.
It was I think it was like Century City Mall.
Yes, it was Century City Mall.
Because that was my like first time there, and I was like, wow, this mall is huge.
Wow, that's so funny.
Well, and it was true because I didn't know like you were naming editors and like assistants, and I was like, what is this guy saying? Like I don't know any of these people, and you're like, study it up. So then that was when I realized how much like accessible like all the resources were and all that thing. And that was part of all that time I had in August. So then I was able to like get in people's inboxes and just really just reach out to people and like make like a real attempt compared to just being like, oh, I'm going to a networking thing and like saying hi to you, like actually like establishing myself as a person and like being known in the community.
Just going to Cuts and Cups is not enough. Just going to the networking events is not enough. That's the bare minimum. And then it's all of the stuff you're doing in between those meetups that is the like actual growth you're doing within the community and like the name recognition that you're getting within people.
Well, and just like moving like across the country, I realized like nobody really knows who I am. Like it's not like it's a community that I grew up in and people like know who I am or like all those things. So I was like, I really need to like make a name and like introduce myself because I'm just like some guy. I wasn't like the ACE intern or any of that stuff. But then I did the ACE like applicant series or whatever they call it, which was right when I was like, oh, I need to also get a job. So I started working at Fabletics, so retail. I was working as a set PA like occasionally. And then I also was working as like an assistant editor for a live events company, which was a really interesting job.
And how did you find these jobs? Just networking or you found them on LinkedIn?
A lot of them was Temple connection. So the set PA was like from a production company that Temple guy worked on. And then a Temple alumni was like the lead assistant editor for the live events company. And then the Fabletics was just me like applying for any job, which I realized after I quit my job, I was like, maybe I shouldn't have quit Chipotle. It was hard. It was hard to find like a normal job too.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just like film jobs. I was like, geez. So then I did the ACE applicant series, which was like great. Like just meeting more people, getting like that insider knowledge, so to say. And it was cool because I honestly didn't expect to be the ACE intern or anything. When I applied, I was like, I'm doing this so I could do the other stuff. I had no expectation to be a finalist or any of that.
The proper mentality for that program.
And so then I just like made sure that I used all the resources they had and met a lot of people that way. And then I ended up emailing Amelia Alwarden after she did speaking. And she was like, we'll meet up in December. She wasn't available then. So then she was like, we'll meet up in January. Then the world caught on fire. And then,
that too.
So then we met up at the end of January. And then in that meetup, she was like, oh, you should meet this guy, Luke Sherman. Like, he's a great guy. So I ended up meeting up with Luke. And Luke was the post coordinator on Avatar, Last Airbender. And so I met up with him on Zoom. And I'm honestly like not good at meeting with people on Zoom. Like it's just so much more challenging for me. And I'm honestly like bad. Like it's just like, I like get flustered. I don't know what it is.
So don't meet Francesco on Zoom, people.
But then when I met with Luke, it was the best Zoom meeting I ever had. For some reason, we just clicked. It didn't really feel like we were on Zoom. And at the very end, I was like, when should I reach out to you again? Like, I need to know. And then he was like in a month. So I reached out to him like a month later.
At this point, did he say that he had a job or he was just like
No, he He was just a guy.
Yeah. Okay.
He was just like a nice guy. He was very like supportive. I was surprised how much we clicked. That was the biggest thing. Like, I was surprised we like kind of clicked, especially again, like because it was remote. And so then a month later, I hit him up because I wanted to like get coffee, like meet in person for real. He basically responded and said like no. And like the first paragraph is his email. And on my like notification on my phone, that's like all I saw. So I didn't even open the email because I was like, dang, this guy just said no. Like I'm really trying out here. Like, and at this point, it's like April. It's almost been like a year that I've been in LA, which isn't a long time, but like
it feels like a long time.
Yeah, it felt like a long time. And then the next day I like actually opened the email and the second paragraph's like, we actually have a post PA position if you want to interview for it. And I was like, oh my God, how did I not open this email? So then of course I responded as quickly as I could. I went through the interviewing process, which also was great. That was my first post PA interview that was in person, which was like huge, I think, because the rest of them were remote, which I just said I'm not a fan of that kind of thing. And I went office, interviewed, and then probably like within 2 weeks, I found out I got the job, and then I started at like the beginning of May.
Wow.
You know, it's good. It just, this adds to the, like, when I tell people they'll ask me like, how long does it take me to get my first post PA job? And I tell people nowadays, like, it's about a year. This just adds to that, like, confirmation that it takes about a year of like networking, meeting people, going to the events, like hitting the ground game again and again and again and again until like you've been around enough that like, because Luke may have even asked other people about you.
I got lucky that because I knew Amelia and our post producer Jake Chused, they like live in the same building and they're like besties.
There you go.
So that was like, I think I got like a double back.
That's what happens. But like that only happens because you've been here long enough that you've met all these people that like, you would have had enough time to just build up name recognition that like, that kind of coincidence could have happened.
I also like at that point was pretty like convinced I wasn't getting a job still because it was like my 6th or 7th like post PA interview and I was
that was your 6th or 7th.
Yeah. Wow. So at that point I was just like, I knew that like it wasn't me interviewing, it was just like the way that people like fit teams and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, after I did the interview I was like, all right, well I didn't get that job, like let's keep looking for the next one. So when I got it, it was like a real like surprise. Like I was like, oh my gosh, it happened.
It is crazy too when you meet people for these like quote unquote interviews. I had a few where they talk to you and they always talk to you like you have the job. And you always have to remember like, wait, I don't have the job. Like I need the official email. I need the official like deal memo.
Assistant editors that are like I've had interviews to be an assistant editor that are like that, where they start talking like, okay, so when you start on Tuesday, like you're going to do blah, 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 blah. And like, and then you get the email like, we met somebody. We're going to go with somebody else.
Yes, like, exactly.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you have to like remember that I've learned that until I have the deal memo in hand signing it, like I don't have the job. So yeah, it can be a little bit tricky. So now how long have you been a post PA on this show?
I think it's been around 10 months, I would say. So a little less than a year, yeah. So
we're wondering, what does your day look like as a PA? How early are you coming in before everybody else? What's kind of like your step-by-step?
I'd also say this is technically a television show, although Netflix... streaming now is like it's a little different, obviously, than traditional television. But as like a post PA in television, I'm curious how that might differ from our experience being, in features.
Well, I usually get in like 15, 30 minutes before everybody. It's around like 8:30, I'd say, 8:45. I mean, the morning's like my busy time because I have to get everybody's lunch. Like, obviously, the main role is like, I mean, they said that in an interview to me, even like, they're like, you have to get food for people, like all that.
Can I just ask how many people you're getting food for?
Yeah, our team's around 16, and then our VFX team's on the second floor, so the VFX P and I work together when they come in during the week, so that would be like 30 people total.
30 people.
Maybe
we have somebody else for the VFX team to help with as well.
Yeah, we usually, the way we split it is that we each go to like a place and offer 2 options, so it's not always like split 50-50. Okay. But they only come in like, Tuesday,
I'm
Wednesday,
going to
Thursday.
Mendocino Farms, and then I'm going to Sweet Green. Yeah. And you can choose between those two, and then you split up the... Yeah. Okay.
I see.
Okay. That's nice. It's a nice system.
That is.
Yeah, unless you pick a place that all 30 people go to.
30 people, though, that's a lot. I mean,
that is a lot.
So in the morning, it's all about like collecting the orders, or when we were shooting, I had to like log all the dailies paperwork and stuff like that.
What do you mean by log the paperwork?
So all the paperwork like comes in an email from the script coordinator, script supervisor, I forget. And I basically would have to put it in our Airtable. So we had like a backup database. Our team's very big on like having backups of backups and keeping track of everything. And then I would also have to, only for our one editor or edit team, print out like this is an editor binder and make that for them with the what's it called?
So are you doing the facing pages?
That's what I was
Script
trying to
facing
say. Yeah.
pages?
You're printing out all the production paperwork for everybody.
And putting it into the binder and organizing that.
Oh, wow.
So they'd have
Okay.
it before they got there in the morning.
Yeah.
But it was only for the one edit team. Everybody else liked it electronically. Yeah.
Oh, electronically.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting. Cause
I like physical.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
do
also a
too.
physical
agree.
guy. I do. I mean, when I did the last movie I did, I was remote, but the production was in Vancouver, and they would just send production paperwork over email. And even though I was the only person that ever had to look at the paperwork, I would still print it out because it was just, it's so much, I find that it's so much faster, and also I can focus so much better if I'm like highlighting actual paperwork as opposed to like checking 2 digital copies on a screen side by side. Like if I can have them printed out, I can highlight and check camera reports versus facing pages and all that stuff. So
Well, also, it's very annoying doing it electronically when you have to update the facing page because you have to kind of like delete the old one, then drag the new one, make sure that it's like in the right order. And so,
Yeah, so I had to do that a lot when we were shooting at the beginning. Now it's really just like prepping. We have a lot of like big meetings in the morning, that kind of stuff. So if we have to get like breakfast burritos or stuff like that ready for that, but also just making sure if they're having a meeting, we have like we call it Aaron Carter. It's just a TV with like a speaker on it. I have no idea why it's called that, but like I have to bring that into the meeting room before they go, or make sure everybody has their badges for our building and stuff like that. I send a lot of drive-ons too. That's a big thing for our building. Drive-ons, make sure those people, if they're coming.
do you like previews in television? Do you do friends and family? Like do people come?
We haven't.
Yeah,
I think
I was like, that's not
eventually they
common
will.
in television.
I think they did for season 1, but for our season, we're not in that spot yet. So
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, what else are you managing?
in the afternoon, it's more just like any tasks I say that come up. Like I always have to make sure monthly, like I have their calendars ready. I always have to make sure we have the office supplies. I have to do a little less crafty, but I always make sure like I have the crafty that everybody wants specifically. Other than that, it's really just like any tasks that come up, like I'm just prepared to like assist with and just do on the fly, so to say.
when do you make your crafty ones?
I usually do it after lunch, so like the hours like 2 to 4. But I usually go only once to twice a week, which I don't know what a normal PA does because we have client services in our building, so they give us like a baseline of snacks. And then
that's
I do,
nice.
Oh, that is nice.
But I mean, our team likes a lot of the things that they don't give us. So I do
Right.
Trader
just
Joe's
those-
snacks and stuff is what always the request that people have, and you know.
Yeah, it's a lot of like sparkling water. I didn't realize sparkling water is such
a lot of sparkling
fan
water.
favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, sparkling water and Diet Coke.
And Diet Coke. Yeah. Yeah.
We're a Coke Zero team. So.
Coke Zero, Diet Coke, either
Yeah.
or. I want to know too, because you have, as you said, you have like maybe 30 people that you're getting lunches for, and just trying to figure out what everybody likes and getting crafty for everybody. How do you keep track and like organize? Like, how do you stay organized to keep track of everything?
I got lucky because it was like a season 1 of show, so they had a lot of working documents already, like when I got on for season 2. So like our lunch sheet that we have is like awesome. It has like everybody's names, and then they have it like formatted or whatever so that you put like the lunch place and then it lights up a certain color.
Oh, wow.
Because we usually do 2 different lunch places. So like we put the number 1 and it lights up orange, and then the number 2 is like purple.
Wow.
And then I put everybody's order into there, and then me and our VFX PA always go in and like when we're placing the orders, we like make sure to check mark each name to make sure we did it. And then we also have like everybody's like official name / title on like the right side of it in case we need it more than just like their first name. And so that's like what we use for lunch, and like it keeps us very organized.
That's super cool. I've
That
never
is
heard
really
of that before.
cool, yeah.
This is a document you inherited?
Yeah.
Is this on Google Sheets?
Yeah, it's on Google Sheets. It's like great.
Wow.
And then I ended
Do you
up
send the email out to people
Yeah.
and they respond to the email?
yeah,
And then
I
you
like
just fill it in.
BCC everybody on the email, which
Yeah.
you have to BCC. That's like a big thing that I messed up a couple times. But
Why do you have to BCC?
well, because if you CC, then everybody
everybody's
knows what
responses.
everybody. Because most people hit like just reply. But if you
Yeah.
hit reply all, then they see everybody's like, oh, Farrah's ordering a Caesar salad today for lunch. I've only done it once or twice, but they let me know when I did those
Right
once or
away.
twice. But that's just for lunch organization. When I'm doing like crafty, I use like the notes app on my phone. That's kind of like my go-to. I have this like, I use the same one every time. So when I go to the store, I use that as like my grocery list, and then I check it off. But I also use that sheet not for grocery things. If like somebody runs in my room and is like, hey, I need you to do this, and starts explaining, like that's the sheet I go to and I write everything down immediately. We use like a lot of Google Drive things just as a team. So it's like I back up our Airtable, which is like a different, do you guys know what Airtable is?
No, I don't know what
I haven't heard of
Airtable is.
It's like a more complicated Google Sheet that you pay for, and it basically just is like tracking files and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But I back up our Airtable into our Google Sheet, so like we use that in our Google Sheet, or not Google Drive, excuse me. So we have a whole Google Drive for like all of our post management stuff. So everything we ever make is in there. I had to do a lot of wrap gift stuff. That was a big part of like my job at the beginning, because there was a lot of I'm like fairly good at using like Canva and like designing things, Photoshop. Yeah. So that was like part of it, just like showing the mock-ups to our team to then give to a real designer, but like having the idea of that. All that stuff, like we were doing it in Google Drive. So everything we like stored was in Google Drive. We use Slack a lot, which is just like the basic software, but it's just like keeping track of things in there too to make sure it goes into the Google Drive if we need it, or like stuff like that. So we just like have like everything very
You
accessible.
do all this, you manage all this using the Notes app on your phone?
I use the Notes app mainly for like when I need like instruction, I'd say. Like if it's like do this in Airtable, you know, or like find this place like through this Google Drive chain. But I also use like paper a lot. Like I use Post-it notes a lot more than I thought I ever would in my life.
I love Post-it notes.
Like every week I probably write on a Post-it note and I'm like, all right, this is what I need to accomplish this week. And then I add to it, obviously. But like even daily sometimes I'm like, all right, this is what I need to do for this day.
Yeah.
Which is just not something I really did before.
I want to ask, because you have multiple editors, right?
Yeah.
So in that way, do you have like multiple teams you're supporting, or is it basically like everybody is just like
we're
editors have their different episodes and then everyone's just kind of one organism?
Yeah. I mean, it's more the second thing. We have like 5 editors, or we did. So we had 5 editors that each had 5 assistants, and then we had 1 apprentice. So it's like 11 people just working in editorial as a whole. I mean, they all have like assigned their own episodes, but like everybody's working together. And like mostly everybody wants things like the same way throughout. But like I was saying, like some of the one edit team wanted paper things, like which was different than the rest of them. Or like the one edit team doesn't want their calendar every month, so that I don't have to do that for them. But then everybody else gets calendars. So it's more of like exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, everybody wants everything mostly the same.
Do you have to write? Do you write all that down to keep track of it, or do you eventually does it just stick in your brain that so and so likes calendars and so doesn't? And
I kind of learned quickly at the beginning. Our one editor that likes when I print out stuff for her, she was like, it has to be size font 20. Like I can't see anything like below size font 20. So then like I knew whenever she was asking me to print something, I like always had to up that font, and it wasn't something I needed to write down necessarily. Or like the calendar thing, I would make sure I only printed out like 7 calendars compared to 8. But I always try and like, I guess, offer still, like if it's something that they're not always like, they're like, I never want this, I still try and like be available. So to say they won't have to feel weird asking because it's something they're not typically always getting.
So like if you're putting out calendars, the team that doesn't want a calendar, you'll still ask them like, do you want a calendar? Just like want to confirm.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's not like they don't see me walking around with the calendar. I'm like, I could always get you one, you know?
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that. Like I'm just trying to always be like offering the service to them still, kind of thing, even though it's not something.
See, that's
they want.
impressive. If I don't have this
good.
written down in a document, like with the specific instructions, like I could never trust my brain to remember it correctly.
I do that for like lunch. Like our one editor, she kind of just usually goes, oh, whatever I got from this place last time.
Yeah.
And so I have a whole literal, like in that same sheet I was talking about with like the lunch stuff, I have a whole little
Past orders.
I have hers, just hers. And so it's like all of her past orders, and I just like a copy and paste.
Well, that
every
happens
time.
too if somebody has allergies. You want, somebody will
Yeah.
tell you like, I'm allergic to onions. You don't want them to remind you that they're allergic to onions.
Hers
every
also
single
has
day.
a big no onions.
There you go. There you go. So I always tell people, remember when somebody tells you an allergy, write it down and remember it every single time. 'Cause
Yeah.
they may not be thinking through it that when they're ordering the Cobb salad, that the Cobb salad actually has scallions in it or whatever,
Yeah.
and they're allergic to
Yeah.
scallions.
And that's the sort of thing, again, like I always check, because then sometimes she's like, oh, I actually wanted tomatoes today. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I just want to make sure, because last time you didn't get it with tomatoes. So it's like
Right. Yeah.
always.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
So it sounds like though that you've gotten pretty good at like predicting what everybody is wanting, and
Yeah, I think
got
within like
these-
the first like 3 to like 5 months, I was like, oh, I can like do my job. Like it was like, I understand what's happening now, like and what they expect from me. And then that's when I started to kind of get like downtime. I was like, oh, I'm like prepared for everything, and I like know what to expect on like a weekly, daily basis, just because we were in like such a flow as a team. So then I was like, oh, what do I do with my time?
I do want to preface this because I feel like that in general, the advice that we always kind of give people is to predict what your editor is wanting and predicting like the next task. But I also want to preface that if you don't know what they want, you can't predict what you don't know.
Right.
So you still have to like, you ask for it, and then after you kind of get the hang of what they're wanting, then you can kind of predict. I feel like there's some people who think they should be predicting like right off the bat, and it's not right off the bat.
Yeah, our apprentice, she's been kind of reminding me that a lot. She was like, this is your first job, because there's like, we've been doing like, we're in a new process of like our phase, so to say, of like the show, and it's like all things I've never ever experienced before.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is your first time, like you should like ask questions, and like you shouldn't know what they want, even though you know these people. Like, we're doing a totally different thing than we were 7 months ago, and you kind of have to relearn what they're expecting and what they need. And so I would kind of like humbled me a little bit, but it was also like, yeah, I like shouldn't really know, because it's such a different thing that we're doing
same
now.
thing for assistant editors too.
It's okay to ask the questions if you don't know, and once you get the hang of it, then people kind of expect you to know what they're wanting, but not the first time. It's fine.
So you spent a year out here trying to get a post-BA job. So you were talking to a lot of people. You were talking to me. You were talking to Leanne.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you were getting a bunch of advice from all of us. What would you say is something that you've learned having done the role that surprised you that you didn't learn from any of us?
I feel like being a post-PA has so much value that I feel like it's hard to even like put into words from people. Like, they try and tell you, just because like you get to basically be like a fly on the wall, especially if you're with a great team and they like want to nurture you and like really show you the ropes. It opens up a whole world that you really just like hear about, like nothing that you ever like really have saw with your like own two eyes. I personally, like coming from my college experience and just like moving here and everything, I like did not really feel like knowledgeable about like most of the things that happen like behind the doors of like editing room and all that kind of stuff. Everybody says like be an assistant editor, I feel like, and like get your days. That's the way you're going to get a job and like succeed, like it's fast track. But I think it is going to happen like slower than you want it to necessarily. Like, you're going to be a post PA and you're going to like work through doing that, and then like you're going to go to the next thing. But like, you can't just like fly by like every single stop. And like everybody you're talking to already did everything. So it seems like they kind of flew by, because you're meeting them after they already are like,
They were a post PA and an apprentice and an assistant.
But like, you're meeting them as an assistant editor. So you're like, oh, they're an assistant editor. Like, I need to be an assistant editor. So it's like weird that you're at the beginning, but everybody you're talking to that's like teaching you, so to say, is already like, they've already checked it off. And it's just like the moving thing. It's like, yeah, I moved. Like, it was like something that like just happened, but it's really like, no, you moved. That's like a big thing. Oh, I was a post PA. That's like a big thing that you did for like an amount of time. So it's like understanding that it is like the process, and like that the process is worth it and it's going to help you get to the next step.
And the process takes a long fucking time.
Yeah.
It takes a long goddamn time. That is the thing they don't tell you. Well, I mean, they do tell you. I feel like at least the advice that I got as a college kid was the process from post PA to feature film editor in its most ideal is a 10-year process.
Right.
Is what I was told.
Yeah.
But again, that's just like words.
That
like,
is just words. You go, okay, 10 years. Like, that's not too bad. And
Yeah.
then you know, 1 year goes by, 2 years go by, and you're like, you got to get
I have 8 years left. I have to get up there in 8 years.
Exactly. Well, what have you learned? You're doing a lot of osmosis now, just having watched everything. What is something you've learned behind the doors that you didn't know before?
I'd say it's just like all the small details and like the dialogue, I guess. Like, I got to like sit in on like director's days with like the director and the editor, and just like the way they like talk to each other about like what they're working on. I guess like the eye they have for certain things, or like I got to shadow our editor, and he was just working through like building a montage of a scene, and just like everything that he's like trying to track and his process or workflow of doing that. Like he had a notebook and he wrote down like what he wanted to edit, which is like, I don't think it's something I would have really thought. Like, oh, he wrote down every single like story beat, so to say, on his notebook, and then he's putting it into the computer, which is like, those are two separate entities, but he's combining it. So it's just like the process everybody takes, but like the details and dialogue they use to do it, it's not really something like you get taught again in school. It's like It's like people are using these words and like describing story and describing action and all these different things. I sat in on our like VFX review the one time. I guess I expected them to talk about like using big words I didn't know that were like visual effects, but then they're like, oh, that fox like should have like a slimmer face, and I was like, oh, I knew every word that guy just said. Like,
yeah, they're not walking around being like, the bitmap depth on this painting, doesn't really match the emulsion that we're looking for in the
Right.
It's much more like, can we take the fog down 10%?
Yeah.
That's a lot of how people talk.
And it's just like the way that they like talk about like the details of the things and like that they see those kind of things, like being able to see that fog is 2% or 10% too much. Like, it's like, that's such like a niche thing that like I was probably looking at like the person like in the middle of the frame that was like talking, not the fog. So it's like noticing the whole frame and like seeing how they really lock in on one thing and they're like, okay, and you watch it again because then you look for something else. Or like they're seeing how the actor is talking compared to how the actor is looking and like different things like that. It's so detailed to the point that you never even realize.
Everybody's way of communicating is also different. And then also directors when they talk to editors too.
Right. So so you're learning a lot about these editorial workflows, and I was wondering what any kind of like technical knowledge that you've gained as well since starting this job.
Yeah, I mean, I get to shadow like our editors and assistants and like our apprentice. I shadow our apprentice a lot, and just like Avid, I guess, as a whole.
I was wondering because I know you're not allowed to touch Avid, but are you soaking in everything that they were doing on Avid?
When I first started shadowing, I was like trying to like soak it in. And I was like, okay, well, I don't really have any Avid knowledge, so like half of this doesn't make sense to me. And then I was like, okay, they're editing. Like I understand editing as a whole, so I understand the things he's doing, but I have no idea.
There is a timeline.
Yeah.
I see the timeline.
There
I
are
see
clips.
a project window.
Yeah, but I was like, I have no idea how he's doing it, but I understand what he's doing. And then I finally got like Avid at home. So then I was like able to like be like, okay, this is how I would do that. So then when I went to shadow again after that, I was like, oh, I know how he did that now. Like it started kind of piecing together a little more. But it was still cool that like understanding an editing software, I guess. I knew how to use Premiere and like watching them do things. I was like, well, I know what they're doing. I just don't really know how to do it in this like given like Avid system.
Right.
But it was still like I understood the editing principles of it, which was like kind of comforting in a sense, because I like at first I thought it was like rocket science. I was like, Avid's something I'll never understand. They're doing crazy things behind it. But then like I finally got to sit in and watch, and I was like, okay, this is achievable. It's just like a different software. So that's like the big thing. And then just seeing like the different things they can do with Avid. I wasn't really aware of all the temp VFX and temp music, especially the temp VFX part. I didn't understand how much that was responsible on like an assistant editor, and like how that's just really for like the cut to feel whole while it's in the process. And so watching them in like the different creative ways that they try and do that. I mean, you're making like a fireball on the screen, but how can you make that fireball like do what it needs to do and like make it fit the environment and all those different things while it's still like clearly temp. So it was interesting just seeing like that building process and the layers, because they start with nothing. Yeah.
On that note, are there any other skills that you're consciously trying to develop right now besides Avid?
I'm mainly Avid. I mean, that like if we're talking technical, it's definitely like Avid's the biggest thing that I'm like, okay, that's the obstacle, so to say. When I started shadowing our apprentice, I was like, okay, these are the things that she does every day. I want to be able to do those things and understand those things. So when we were like in dailies, she was like script syncing an insane amount. So I was like, okay, I definitely need to know how to script sync. And I script synced at my internship that I had when I first was out here, but it was like maybe 3 months that I did it 1 to 5 times. So I was like, okay, this is something I want to be able to like regularly be able to do and understand and like have that skill. So it's more of like the certain things that I guess they'd ask like an apprentice to do is that I'm trying to do technically those.
Okay, makes sense.
Now that you're working in a cutting room, I know some people when they become a post PA, you know the post coordinator on the show. Are you looking at post coordinating and apprentice editing, and are you thinking like maybe you want to do post coordinating, or are you like you're on the editorial path?
I definitely want to do editorial. I think my job, it's a lot more of like the post coordinating stuff, and I like that I'm getting that insight, because it's not like it's something I like would have never known or like seen. If I was like an assistant editor, it'd be like something I would basically just like talk to people about and do. But like I'm very much involved in all of our post management and like all the like responsibilities we have. So understanding it from that side and then seeing what our assistant editors do, you see how everything like works together.
You see the whole. There was a period of time in college where I thought about becoming a post supervisor, and then you actually post supervise a project, and that is for a certain kind of person, and that is not me. You know? Yeah. You kind of have to do it to, and I think post PAing, you get a little taste of that. You get a little bit, just taste of like what it's like to be on the management tree in general. Yeah, that shit is hard. Our last section is kind of about like, you're the most recent Yeah, because I think you started more recently than Grant did. So you're the most recent post PA. Like you've done it the most recently. I guess, you're our authority on the subject in this case. So what advice would you have for somebody who's stepping into the post PA role today? What advice would you have for somebody that's looking to become a post PA? I kind of want to talk about that whole, like as now our certified post PA expert, what advice would you give to, somebody who's graduating college?
I'd say like they don't expect you to like know everything. They expect you like when they like teach you things to understand them and learn them and then know them. They understand that you're fresh out of college. They understand that you're 22, 23 and like have never been in this environment before. And at least for my team and like my experience, like everybody was thrilled to help me and like wants me to succeed and like nurtured me and like helped me understand like what I need to do to help them and support them, which made it a lot easier for me because I don't know if all teams have that great of communication. Like I think I went into it and I was like, okay, I need to like know everything. Okay, I need to know the lunch places. Like but it was definitely like a learning curve. It's a quick learning curve. Like within the first month or two, like I was getting really comfortable knowing everything. But like, I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself that I was like, okay, I need to like be able to like succeed day one. But then it's like day one, you go in there and you're like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, I've never done this job before. Mm-hmm. And I think nobody expects you to know what to do because your resume has no post-PA experience. And that's nobody, like you've never done it before.
It's a different set of skills checking lunches for 30 people.
Yeah.
Versus anything you've ever done before, opening up 30 boxes and making sure that that's hard. I still think to this day, of all the jobs I've ever had in my entire life, the hardest job was being a post-PA. I still think that just because it was like so many things you've never done before. I mean, other jobs I did later required more detail-oriented focus, but no job I had done up until that point had required so much detail-oriented focus. So you learn a lot of those like skills of checking stuff. Like in the same way that you need to check to make sure a turnover is correct, you're learning how to do that by checking 20 cartons of food and making sure that they're have all the allergies for people correct. That process is training your brain to be detail-oriented to an absurd level, which is the first time you do it. It's a tricky job.
And it's even different than like set PAing because I like set PA'd before. I don't know, set PAing, it's like, okay, I get 2 or 4 days that I'm working on set in the week or whatever. And like I'm bringing a lunch. It's typically catered. So it's like, it's a big anybody grab whatever they kind of want kind of thing. But like it's very much catering to each person on the team. Like you need to know everybody's name. You need to know when their birthdays are. Mm-hmm. You need to know what they want for lunch. You need to know what time they come in. Like if they are coming in today or if they're working from home, like knowing all, like you said, the details and like being able to like express that compared to like, oh, we're on set with this client and they're going to have about 50 people. So we need to serve 50 people. It doesn't matter who those 50 people are. There's just 50 of them. And like, they're all going to get
Chipotle's got to cater for 50 people.
Yeah. We don't need 50 chairs set up, enough tables for 50 people. But like, no, these are like individuals that you need to like know and you're going to be with then for like the next year. So you need to like know all of them, know their like the ins and outs of what they want, whether it's food, whether it's paper, like all those different things. It's much more like intimate, so to say.
What advice would you give for somebody who's trying to become a post PA?
I'd say it's just like, again, like knowing people, like trying to like establish yourself, but also just like you, like I said, like you're unprepared, but that's like a good thing. Like it's good that you're new. Like you want to be eager, you want to be willing to learn, and you have to like kind of know, okay, I don't know what's going on, right? That's like the big thing is like you're going in there to learn. You're going in there to like try something new and like be part of a team and be like the bottom supporting up, right? But you don't have to like know. You want to meet everybody, but you want to make sure that you're humble, so to say, and like showing your eagerness of like wanting to know. And I'd also say just like doing things is good. Like when you're like unemployed but trying to get employed, like it doesn't sound great if you're like, yeah, I was at home.
Yeah.
Like that's all you say, but like you're like, oh no, like I went to Cuts and Cups last week and then I went to this movie screening Saturday where they did like a panel and just like actively
being engaged with the community.
And even if you're like doing those things, you need to communicate that you're doing those things to people, because I think some people struggle to like talk about like all the stuff that they're doing if they are doing that much stuff, because they don't really always see it as like, oh, I'm doing something. But like if you're out of your house, you're typically doing something. So it's like telling people you're doing something, they like to see that you're like active, that you're eager, that you're engaged, all those things. So, and even just like telling people that I was set PAing and that like I was assisting editing, because like my assistant editing job, it wasn't like the best job in the world, but I was still telling people that I was working and doing that kind of thing. It was like, oh, he's not just at home, like he's playing video games, you know?
Do you still feel, we mentioned earlier, and I think even when I was leaving college at that time. And I guess there probably still is a big discussion about whether or not it's even worth it to become a post PA or whether or not you should just go straight into being an assistant editor. Based on your experience and your friends now who are trying to become post PAs or assistant editors, what do you see happening?
Well, I'd say first, like when I came out here, I definitely like 70 to 30, 70% of people were telling me to be like an assistant editor and
Really?
like, get my days. Yeah, it was definitely like the minority of people were telling me to be a post PA. But like I mentioned earlier, like I felt so unknowledgeable about everything that like went on behind the cutting room doors and all those things that I was like, I need to be a post PA. Like I just need to be part of the team and see everything. I think if I did it differently, so to say, before I moved, I might have been like an assistant editor and like somehow got my hours in an easier way, however what would have accounted for it, not in California or whatever it was, and then moved and then became a post PA. Like, so still having the post PA part of the process, but then like having the experience of my own more, like a more strong experience, I'd say, before. But I think like being the post PA is like the best way to just like get in, especially when you're fresh out of college. Like they're looking for somebody that's young, looking for somebody that's eager. You're only out of college for like a year. For that college, you're out a year, right? Like it's that first year you're out of college and it's like, okay.
You're only a spring chicken for one spring.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, use that while you can. And like, you're not losing anything. It's not going to put you behind. You're going to meet great people in there. You're going to learn things that, like, no matter what, you're going to learn things you didn't know. Even if you were an assistant editor, if you did something, like, you're going to learn new things from the experience. I'm a big advocate for it, but I know, like, specifically when I did the Ace Applicant series, like, they were big on, like, you should be an assistant editor first. Like, they don't even talk about being a post PA.
Oh, wow.
So I was
Really?
like,
How fascinating.
well, because they want you to be employed as quickly as possible.
That's a good point. I generally always tell people, like, try not to think too hard about it. Whatever comes first, do that first.
Yeah.
Like if somebody offers you an assistant editor job that allows you to get your days first, okay, great. That's your path. Go do it. If somebody offers you a post PA gig that offers you, just like trying to plan it too much means that you'll basically just do neither. Just do whatever happens naturally.
Right. Even for the post PA, like I've also talked to people, they say like it's even harder to get a post PA job because there's only one of those jobs.
Yep.
So it's like each team has a post PA, a singular one. While like assistant editing, like there's multiple assistant editors for certain projects, for certain things. So like for a post PA, like maybe there's less roles and that kind of thing. And then there's more people because it's more entry level, so to say. But really it gets you in, like it's an easy plug-in.
We'd like to know too, what is the biggest mistake that you might see or hear about from people who are new to being a post PA?
I think maybe just like, I think it's really easy to get like complacent with the job. Like you're doing the same job over and over. And then you get like this downtime that you're not really sure what to do with. Like I've filled it with like shadowing or like talking with our apprentice a lot of time and stuff like that. But I think a lot of people find it easy to be like, okay, like I did my job. And then like, that's kind of it, because you do end up having like a lot of time. Like I said, the mornings are the busy part for me. I might go on a crafty run 1 or 2 days a week, but then after that, it's like, okay, I have this chunk of time. And even if you're not like shadowing, you could spend that time like sending emails to meet new people or like checking in with people. Like it's like using your time wisely, but then also like you're like still readily available for any task that comes up. And I think people kind of get like very comfortable in the role because it's like, okay, I got lunch. Like that was lunch. And then it's like, that's my day. I also think people kind of get, I guess, overconfident would be really easy to go into it because it's like, okay, all I have to do is get lunch. And it's like we said, like there's more details to it than that. Like you could just get lunch, but like understanding that lunch needs to be there at 12:45 because it's at 1 o'clock, and like making sure it's there before every time, and like the details matter, and like not being overconfident, like, oh, I'm going to get it there every time. Because like truthfully, like it's impossible to get it there 100% of the time before 1 o'clock. 99% of the time you could do it. Like that's a real human standard, but it's like the confidence and then like not taking accountability if that kind of thing happens, like being able to understand that like you are going to make mistakes and it's like normal to make mistakes, but it's how you handle it after that.
Wise words.
Wise words.
Wise words.
Yeah, I mean, you just learn basically like, oh, you messed up somebody's lunch order. The first thing you say is, instead of like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, like won't happen again. Like I always was, at least my mentality at the time was, I would be like, I'll go back to the restaurant right now and get you the fixed food. And 9 times out of 10, they'd be like, no, of course not. It's fine. Just next time. But that kind of thing, when you say it and do it, instills confidence that like you care so much about this, that was in your mind a unacceptable failure point on behalf of yourself, and you're going to do everything to remedy it. And from other people's perspective, they go like, oh, okay, the kid just made a mistake. Like it's not that big of a deal. It's not emblematic of like anything larger.
Yeah, where they're like, wow, he's crazy. He's going to go all the way back. Like,
Yeah.
Which I have done. People have been like, yes, please go get me in.
Yeah.
And you're like, yes. And then you get in your car and you drive back to Sweetgreens and get another salad or whatever.
I'm going to actually end this with, what do you feel is the biggest lesson that you've learned now being a post PA?
that's a good question.
I feel like we kind of answered it, but I want to circle back to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think, again, it's just that you like don't know everything. Like, I feel like I really went into it. Not that I thought I knew everything, but I definitely went into it like I was like, I don't know everything. And then it's like, I still, last week was like, wow, I still don't know anything. And it's like, I'm still learning. Like, we did one of our like final color playbacks. It was like that was what's going on this week. And I saw it on the calendar and I was like, I have no idea what those 3 words mean. I was like, and I had to like sit down with our post cord, and he sat me down and he just like explained the whole process. And I learned like a whole new thing 10 months into my job that's going to be like something that happens for the next like 4 months.
The DI is a huge, it's like,
and
it's a whole
thing.
And it's just like, I didn't know anything about that. Like, and it's like, those words didn't mean anything, and they really, somebody had to tell me they meant something, you know, but I didn't know it's okay to not know. And I was just like, I was like, wow, I've been here and I'm like consistent and I'm like, I think I'm good at my job, right? But I was like, I didn't know that. And now I know, and now I can handle it going forward. But it's like, it's really okay to not know. And like, there's a lot of things you really shouldn't know if you're like brand new.
Mm-hmm.
Right. All right. Should we go into a splice and spew?
Let's do it.
Splice and spew.
Michael, do you have one? Or do you want me to go?
You go first.
All right. Yesterday I made a silly mistake. So I guess it's a splice about myself. I was trying to book a golf tee time because I go golfing every now and then. And
I didn't know that.
Saturday I tried to book it, and I tried to book it at 11:40. Well, I had something in the afternoon, and it wasn't gonna, I was like, oh shoot, I'm not gonna be able to make the thing in the afternoon if I'm golfing at 11:40. So I made the appointment for yesterday, which was Sunday, and I thought it was at 11:40, and we drive there. We get all ready, you know, got sunscreen on, whatever. Drive there, pull up, and like I have a tea time at 11:40, and they were like, your tea time was at 11 o'clock. And I was like, oh shit, seriously? He was like, yeah, I mean, I could put you on the wait list, but like it's really booked today, so there's no guarantee that you're going to get on. So I was really annoyed at myself because it was Valentine's Day weekend and I was trying to do this whole date thing. And then I wasted $60 apparently because that's how much it was. And I had missed the tea time. And of course, it's one of those like we could have made it if I just knew what the correct time was. And so I was kind of beating myself up over it. And I was really embarrassed that I did not double check the tea time. So advice, people, whenever you make an appointment for something, double check your times, because I thought I had made it for the same time as I tried to on Saturday, and I did not. And I hadn't golfed a par 3 since like November. So I was like trying to get back into it. You know, I had clubs shipped out. I got a golf bag for Christmas. So I've been trying to put all this to good use. But next time.
Tragedy.
I
will also splice about Valentine's Day weekend. My girlfriend and I went down to the Queen Mary in Long Beach, which
I've never been.
I went to. Well, this is what my splice is about, because I went to school in Orange County, and I always knew the Queen Mary was there. The only time I'd ever had been to the Queen Mary was to get my COVID vaccination, and I always knew that it existed, but I always kind of thought it was like, I don't know, some type of like kitschy tourist trap. It's awesome. So my splice is, if you haven't been to the Queen Mary, if you're like me, you've lived in Southern California now for like a decade, and you've never been to the Queen Mary, go take a weekend and go down to the Queen Mary. They have 3 different tours. My girlfriend and I did the Glory Day tour. But our tour guide, it seemed to me like all the tour guides are incredibly knowledgeable about this ship. I mean, they can tell you like the type of wood that was used to make the floors, and they can tell you all the different people that stayed there, and they can tell you what was going on the ship on every single given year in between, you know, X, Y, and Z. There's a hotel on the ship. You can stay there. They have all these events. The city of Long Beach owns this boat, so they do these really fun community events there. You know, they do brunches where everybody dresses up, and they have a haunted ghost tour because a bunch of people have died on the boat. So there's like a haunted tour. They have a tour where you can learn about the engineering of the boat and like how all this stuff works. Anyway, I cannot recommend it enough. I just had an absolute blast spending time on this boat learning about everything that was going on and how the ship worked. And I thought it was going to be kind of kitschy and dumb. And my girlfriend and I had an absolute fucking blast just learning about 56 different types of wood composites that were used on this boat. And it's all Art Deco, and it's like these beautiful frescoes and murals and paintings everywhere that was done for this boat. It's just really, really cool. I cannot recommend enough. Go take a weekend, drive down to Long Beach, go do one of these tours. You'll have an absolute blast. So my splice is about the Queen Mary.
I just realized that I said that was my splice, and I meant that it was
your
a spew. Queen Mary. All right, go check it out.
I like the Queen Mary. It was fun.
Francesco, you got one?
I'm going splice, keeping the positivity. My girlfriend and I have been watching Steven Universe.
Okay.
And we have been addicted to it, I'd say, lately. And it's we were trying to get a cartoon night going for us, just watching cartoon nightly, once a week. And now it's every night we watch Steven Universe. And it's a show that I think I briefly saw a couple episodes when I was a kid. I was like, oh, this is cool. It's a kid. He has a shield. They have superpowers, whatever. But now it's I'm just recreating my childhood. I'm watching Steven Universe, building Legos. And it's just kind of every night it's okay, I'm really just trying to be a kid again. I'm just bringing that back. So it's nice. And it's kind of more serious. It's the things you never thought you'd understand as a kid. But as an adult, you're oh, wow, this is kind of a serious topic for kids running around with all these colors and all these things. But that's been something we've been super enjoying. And it's such a funny, they're 11-minute episodes. It's such a short amount of time.
I never heard of it.
Really?
You ever heard of Steven Universe? Oh, it's a classic.
I'm looking it up right now. Oh my God, you say kid, and it came out in 2013, which makes me feel really old. 2013, I was a freshman in college.
All right, Cassidy Corner.
Cassidy Corner, here I am. I guess I'll also splice. I had a very wonderful Valentine weekend with my amazing partner. And the two things I'll splice about are old books and garlic. So we went to an amazing bookstore in Northern Hollywood called the Iliad. If you haven't been there, it's on the corner of Chandler and something else. It's amazing. There are so many old books. There's books in piles. There's books outside. There's books in shelves. There's books everywhere. And I got some pretty cool ones. I got The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I got this one that was a huge film theory book. It was cool. And then when we got home, we made some dinner, some butter chicken and stuff. And I'd like to splice as well about these little plastic garlic peelers I bought. They kind of look like Chinese finger traps, but big, like for Andre the Giant type fingers. And you put the garlic in, and then you just rub your hands together, which I'm used to because I'm excited for the garlic, right? You rub your hands together, and then it just peels the garlic immediately. It's perfect every time. And yeah. Get garlic peelers and go to the Iliad bookstore, but don't eat garlic there.
The Iliad's on my Google Maps list of places to visit because they have a bunch of cats there, right?
Yes, they have two wonderful cats, an orange one named Apollo and a gray one whose name I didn't catch, but we shared some good moments.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Sips and Clips. You can catch us on Instagram at Sips and Clips Pod or email us at sipsandclipspod@gmail.com. And remember, you keep on sipping while we keep on clipping. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Sips and Clips is a podcast produced by Leanne McFalls and Michael Schusterman. Logo design by Mike Knoll. Production sound by Cassidy Leggin. Post-production sound by Zach Griffin. Follow us on Instagram at Sips and Clips Pod or email us at sipsandclipspod@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe.